Hello guys, in this whole video we will discuss on-premise and cloud. We can say on-prem as well. We have covered many topics in this series. Now I am here to deliver the characteristics of on-premise and cloud. Now, first thing, what is on-premise and cloud? There are two types of IT services. One is owned by you only and other is owned by other. So you take own responsibility and you do not take responsibility. That means responsibility is taken by other. So there are two types of IT services where we deliver. So one is on premise. One is on premise. Clear? And other is cloud. So there are two types of services. First is on premise, second is cloud. Now, what is on premise? This type of services that are hosted in your own data center. In your own data center, and it is not own data center. It is data center of your service provider. That means it is hosted by your third party. It is hosted by own and it is hosted by other. Here, features. First thing, on the basis of location. That means your own data center or hardware. Location, your own data center, hardware, but this is provider's data center. Own data center. This is service provider data center. That means third party. And this is owned by you. That means you take responsibility, but you can take rent because it depends on your third party. And you have full control, but you have less control on it because you purchased. So you take no stress. You feel free because you pay and use. This is limited because it is costly. So you cannot purchase more things, but it is unlimited. It is provided by many big if you talk about cost, upfront cost is higher and long term lower because you get profit, but upfront on if you talk about in cloud, upfront is lower and long term is higher, because if you expand your business, then you pay more, so your profit will be stressful. And here, if you talk about security, it is your responsibility to, because you have full control and you own your devices, but it is not your. If you talk about in cloud security, it is not responsible. It's not your responsibility. It is responsibility of a third party. And if you talk update, it's your responsibility. And here, provider is responsible. And if you talk about support, you provide, but provide provider provides the support. So there are many things here. If you talk about characteristics, so again we will repeat the same things. Some additional features, characteristics may help you decide which option is right to you. First, your budget. Your budget. It is more important. On-premise computing can be more expensive upfront, but the long-term cost may be lower if you need a lot of resources. Then cloud computing is more affordable upfront, but the long-term cost may be higher if you need a lot of resources. Now, your IT team. If you talk about your IT team, if you have a larger team that can manage your on-premise infrastructure, then this may be a good option for you. If you don't have a large IT team, if you don't want to be responsible for managing your infrastructure, then you take as a option cloud computing, maybe a better option. On third point, your security concern. Your security concern. If you talk about security purpose, if you have sensitive data that needs to be highly secure, then on-premise computing may be a better option. Cloud computing providers have a lot of security features, but you may not have as much control over security as you would if you were managing your own infrastructure. So you should take own responsibility in this case. Now, fourth point, your flexibility needs. Your flexibility needs. If you talk about on the basis of flexibility, that means if you need to be able to scale your infrastructure up or down quickly, then cloud computing may be better option. I think cloud computing may be better option. On-premise computing can be more difficult to scale as you need to add or remove hardware. Clear? So these are the point when you think which is better on your budget, your IT team, security concern, flexibility, then we should prefer which is better on-premise and cloud. Clear? So there are many points which can uh, differentiate with each other. Here, if you talk about on-premise services, on-premise device owned by, managed by, organized by, own, but cloud device are owned and managed by cloud provider, third party. Clear? So there are many features here. On-prem, and cloud. Clear? That means on-premise, which type of devices we use generally? Servers, storage device. That means on-premise servers are the backbone of on-premise computing. They provide the computing power and storage space that is needed to run on-premise application and services. Second point is storage device. If you talk about on-premise, storage devices are used to store data on-premise. This data can be anything from the user, files, to application data. At third point, client devices. Client on-premise client devices are used to access on-premise application and services. This includes computer, tablet, smartphone, computers, phones, tablets. There are many things. Fourth point, networking devices. On-premise networking devices are used to connect servers, storage. Clear? Networking devices. If you do not have more information about client devices, networking devices, you should prefer my previous video where we discussed in depth about this. So networking devices used to connect users to on-premise network. Clear? Now, on the basis of, if you talk about on the basis of cloud server, cloud servers are the backbone of cloud computing. It is the backbone. Here, backbone. Clear? The same things we are talking about this. On the basis of storage devices, we can say cloud storage devices are used to store data in the cloud. This data can be anything from the user's files to application data. If you talk about networking devices, cloud networking devices are used to connect cloud server, storage. Clear? If you talk about networking devices, cloud networking devices are used to connect cloud servers and storage devices together, as well as connect users to the cloud. If you talk about client devices, cloud client devices are used to access cloud applications, the services. This includes computer, phones, tablet, smartphones. So there are some similarities. If you talk, both on-premise and cloud devices are used to store data, run application, connect users to network. And difference, this is owned by you and this is owned by third party. On-premise devices are more expensive upfront, but the long-term cost may be lower. And if you while cloud devices are more affordable upfront, but the long-term cost may be higher. So we have covered more point on the basically on-premise and cloud. So these things will vary depending on the specific needs of the organization or individual. However, The devices listed above are some of the most common devices that are used in both on-premise and cloud computing. I think you have a clear understanding about this. This table will be will be very helpful for you, and thank you guys. Wait and watch for upcoming videos.